Hey everyone, this is Dan Saavedra from MergerData.com. We do automation and analytics work for small businesses, and today we're going to be going over the top new features in Tableau 2021.4. We're going to be going over new features from Tableau Desktop, Tableau Online, Tableau Server, and Tableau Prep. There's been a lot of really cool enhancements that are going to make your development life a lot easier and users' lives a lot easier in using the Tableau platform. So let's dive in. The first set of features that we're going to go over are for Tableau Desktop. Now, it seems like recently Tableau has been implementing a lot of the same new features in desktop and in web edit for Tableau Server and Tableau Online. So a lot of these features are going to be found in both the desktop and the web edit versions of Tableau. So let's dive in. The first feature that is really a game changer if you've been using Tableau for a long time is the copy feature for dashboards. So anything that's not a filter or a worksheet, you can actually copy this item on your dashboard now. And so I made a text object right here just to show this example, but it's as simple as clicking the down arrow on the object and then clicking on copy dashboard item. And then you can either go up into your toolbar and do paste, or you can just use your keyboard shortcut and then you can paste a new text object. And so we can actually just do this a bunch of times. So then you don't have to go through the same formatting for text objects, the same configuration for the layout. Instead, you can just copy and paste either horizontal, vertical objects, text objects, images, stuff like that. So that's a really cool feature, and that's going to save a lot of time when configuring dashboards. The next feature that we're going to go over is editing published data sources. So this is a really big one, especially if you use data sources frequently and you're always making changes to them. Obviously, those changes need to be pushed onto server so that any dashboards using the data source will also get those changes. The old way of doing this was you had to actually download the data source, open it in Tableau Desktop, make the changes, and then republish that to server in order for them to take effect. But now, when you are in your online or server instance, you actually have this edit data source button, and I'm going to click on this for our Superstore data source. And what it'll do is it'll open up a new window and it'll allow you to edit that data source. So let's say you have a relationship established or you need to change a join or something like that. You can actually come in here. You can drag those new tables onto the canvas, and then you can also go and create and edit your calculated fields, which is a really big deal. If you have calculated fields in your data sources, you know that if you're in a workbook, then you're going to have to copy that field in order to make changes to the calculation. Instead, now you can go in there and directly edit the data source without having to open up an entire workbook on Tableau Desktop. So that's a really important new feature that's going to save a lot of time. The next big thing is Tableau Exchange. And so if I go over to this tab here for Tableau Exchange, you're going to see three headers up top. You have dashboard extensions, which if you've been using Tableau for a while, you might be familiar with already. So you can search those extensions. You can search by the Tableau version as well. You also have your connectors. So any standard connectors or any connectors that other platforms have developed and it's been approved by Tableau will be available here. And then my favorite new thing with Tableau Exchange is the accelerators. And basically what this is it's dashboard templates that's going to speed up your development process, especially for dashboards that are pretty common requests for small businesses or even bigger corporations. It gives you a starting point where you can pretty much start at 60% done, 70% done. There are some drawbacks to it. Obviously, you have to have matching data structures. You might have to swap out some fields, but otherwise this is a really big deal. Just being able to use templates to get started on something, it saves a lot of time. The next big feature that Tableau has come out with is multi-data sources and map layers. So if you've ever been developing a map and you have different data sources, you'll realize that you have limitations because you can't put multiple layers on the same map from multiple data sources, but now you can. So what I did was I just built a quick example here using the Superstore sample dashboard. So I took the map, and you can see that we're connected to this published data source, this data source right now. And then if I click on the other marks, you'll see that there is now this other data source that's used for the other marks, the dots for the city. So that's a really big deal because that'll allow you to really analyze data across different data sources, which was a limitation that you had before. The next big improvement that Tableau's made in 2021.4 would be to their metrics. And so if I open up this published dashboard on my test server and open up the metrics card here, you can see that there are now tons of options available for configuration. So you can do things like type in a description, you can put in the date range into these pre-made periods of time, or you can change it to custom and then change to your custom number of months or custom start date. I'm going to switch it back to last 12 months. You can also do a comparison type, so it can be historical or constant. So right now we have a historical. For a constant, we can do something like this where we put in 12,000 for this constant value comparison, and we can see that we're above that. You can also change these status values for the above, the at, and the below value so that you have a color indicator depending on where that data is at. You also have your definition down here. So you have your sum of sales or sum of profits from this graph which the metric is selected from. And then you also have the location that it's published to. If you wanted to choose another project to publish this metric to, you could do that. So these are some big changes for metrics. You can also now embed these metrics into apps, corporate portals, or websites, allowing you to extend the reach of the Tableau platform. So that's a really useful feature just to grow adoption of Tableau in your company or outside of your company. The next big features that Tableau released are for Tableau Online and Tableau Server. They are only available if you have the data management add-on, but they are a really big deal. The first one is virtual connections. What this means is that you're now going to be able to create and share access for specific tables. You're going to be able to embed service accounts, and you're also going to be able to define data policies that you can share with others in your organization. So this is a big deal because you're no longer needing to share credentials via email or some other method. Instead, you can create and publish these virtual connections, and then users with the correct permissions on Tableau Server or Tableau Online will be able to use those. So that's a really big security improvement and collaboration improvement. The next is you're going to have inherited lineage descriptions for your data fields. And what that means is that if you have a description for a field, it's going to be shown throughout all of Tableau Server for anything connected to that. So any workbook, any data source that has that description, there's going to be a single source of truth, and that's going to be updated through your entire server or through your entire Tableau Online instance. And last but not least, we're going to go over a quick Tableau prep feature that was added that makes a very big difference in terms of the usability of the Tableau platform. So I created a flow here that uses the Superstore data source, and the new feature is called a parameter, which in Tableau Desktop you already have your parameters, but this is now available in Tableau Prep. And so what that allows you to do is create flows that users can run, and they can enter their own parameters before the flow is run, which means that they can create custom output based off of years, based off of dimensions, things like that. And so if I go into this flow and I click up at the top, you can see that I already created a parameter called year. You can also create a new parameter by clicking on the button and then entering the name, description, data type, value, and the allowed values. Now I'm going to go back into this parameter just to show you the configuration because there are a few drawbacks. Number one, you can see that there's only all or list available for the allowable values. Now in Tableau Desktop, there are options to populate these lists based off of a field's value. My assumption is that Tableau will implement that feature in the future, but it's just not there right now. So for things like years, you're going to have to type out the list of values that you want users to be able to enter. But this is really useful because you could also put in something like a dimension. So if you have a set number of regions or states or categories in your data set that you want users to be able to run flows for, you can create that option for the list of values, and then users will be able to select that to run a flow. And it's as simple as that. So basically, all you have to do is create a step where you utilize that parameter to modify your flow. And so what I did here was I created a clean step and I just added a filter. And then in that filter, all I did was say order date, or the year of the order date, is equal to the parameter year. And so what that'll do is if a user selects 2021, it's only going to run the flow for order dates that were in the year 2021. And so that's a really powerful feature that expands the use case of something like Tableau Prep. Compared to a tool like Alteryx, this now brings Tableau Prep closer to that level because you're creating more application types or application type flows instead of just static flows that are run on a regular basis. Alteryx offers that same type of functionality in apps that are published to Alteryx server. So it really brings Tableau Prep a lot closer. So those are my top features for Tableau 2021.4. I think that they make a really big difference in terms of your day-to-day workflow and efficiency in development, as well as user functionality on the entire platform. So hopefully you find a few of these features useful. If you haven't upgraded yet to 2021.4, maybe this will give you a reason to do that. Thanks for watching.